Good morning and welcome to Caretaker's Corner, where we discuss everything that has to do with taking care of your disabled or your elderly disabled parents, your disabled spouses, and your adult disabled children. My name is CJ, and I am your guide on this journey. And I'm sorry about last weekend not being able to make a video, but as you can see, I'm working on a new office space. And I spent last weekend all 3 days moving. If you remember, back in April, our basement flooded, and we had to move everything out of the basement and into a pod. And last weekend, I moved everything out of the pod back into the basement. And I haven't finished with it. I'm going to do some painting, and I've still got some more shelves to put up and all of that. I put quite a bit up. I mean, I worked my butt off last weekend. So I hope in the end you're going to like it. We're going to have a blue wall back here. You know, the color of my caretaking logo is what's going to be right back here. And so hopefully it's probably going to take me a little bit longer than I thought it would. Had some family stuff come up over the last week, so it kind of put me a little bit back. But which brings me to what today's discussion is all about, and that is how to prioritize your chores and your projects when you're a caretaker. Because, like I said, I had a lot of family things come up this weekend, or in the last week, and it set off my my projects. Now, like I said before, you know, you have to have your boundaries. So it's like, okay, look, I will not go back. Like my Sundays are very particular, and it takes a mega emergency for me to give up my Sundays. My Sundays set my whole week up. They, you know, my meal preps, I do my water, I get everything ready for work for the whole week, for Barbara for the whole week. So that is a no-go. Unless it's a major family emergency, I will not give up my Sundays. But we had an issue this week where Barbara's head, as you know, her head is, I'm sorry, somehow my cat got downstairs. Her head was infected, and we had to go to the doctor in Louisville and get him to check it out and everything. And then yesterday we got up, we are taking Robin crocheted some flowers for the EMS, the sheriff, the animal control, all the folks that came to our rescue. And we were delivering those when Barb's little sister called and asked if we could come over there, and we ended up being over there. So, make a long story short, too late, I know. Yesterday was gone, so I didn't get as much done yesterday as I was hoping to, but it's one of those times where you have to make that decision. Should I spend time with my family, or should I do my project? And I have a lot of, I like to think of myself as a very organized individual, and I am OCD, and sometimes I let that take control. And so it's like I have my projects set out, my chores set out in a certain order because it's the most logical, and I tend to get very upset if something interferes with it. And I've come a long way. I used to be really bad about this. And a lot of people are not very good with executive order type stuff. So, a case in point, at my job recently, we had a small fire, and we had to do a lot of cleaning. And they kept telling us to dust everything off and clean it. And we spent a whole week doing all this stuff. And then they had people come through and go all the way up to the roof and start blowing dust off of everything up top onto everything we've already cleaned. So then we had to re-clean everything. And that's kind of an executive order type thing. So, you do, like when you're dusting your house or you're cleaning your house, you start at the top and you work your way down. That way you're not sweeping the floor 500 times. And like when like when I work on my lists and my chores for the day, do I have to leave the house? And if I have to leave the house for my chores, what is the most logical route that I take so that I can get them done quickly. Because when you're a caretaker, sometimes getting things done quickly and accurately is the best way, because you never know what's going to happen. I didn't know that we were going to have to go and take Barbara to the plastic surgeon because of an infection in her head on Thursday. And like with parents, you never know how they're going to be, especially with elderly, like my mom and stepdad. They've been the heat is really getting to everybody right now, and it's been wiping them out. So if they go out and do anything, kind of like Barbara, they're going to be in bed for, half a day or maybe a whole day trying to recover. And you have to take these things into account when you're making your chores, your schedule for your chores. And you have to sit there and figure, what is most vital for me to do? What is the number one thing I need to get done that has to be done for either medical reasons or financial or whatnot. And you start with that, and then you prioritize your list. Write down your whole list of everything you need to do, and then prioritize them. And try and tackle the first 5 things on that list. I like to group my list, like I said. If it's something I have to leave the house for, then I group all of those together so that I can get everything done at once. If it's something to do with cooking, I will group all of that together so that way I'm only cooking the one time and I'm not having to move all around. So that's another thing to think about. Cleaning, I group all that together. Like my cleaning, I try to do while everybody else is asleep, so that way I'm not getting in anybody's way while I'm cleaning, and no one's getting in my way while I'm cleaning. Cooking, I try and do that whenever I can. But like if I'm using like blenders and juicers and stuff that make a lot of noise, for Barbara, I have to make sure that she is awake and she is aware I'm doing it, and that she can put noise canceling earbuds in, because we don't want it to offset her TN. Also, Melissa tends to have migraines, and using that equipment can cause her migraines to get worse. So these are things when you're dealing with disabled individuals or elderly individuals that you have to take into account when you do your chores. And it's something that in a normal household you don't have to think about. You just have to get up and start doing them. So those are some of the ways that I personally think about it when I start to do my chores or I make my list. And I mean, there are some things I do the same time every week at the exact same time. I have a list on the refrigerator that I just put down for what I have to do, and then I set reminders in my phone so that way it sends me messages to remind me what all I have to do, especially if it's outside of my ordinary schedule. So those are really helpful, by the way. It's like I said, I have a whiteboard with a erasable marker on it on the refrigerator that I keep all sorts of notes on. And it helps out a lot, because not only for me, but everybody else can look at it and say, oh, okay, so this is what the plan is for today, which helps with communication a lot within the family unit also. And then as far as I love that Apple has updated that reminder function so that it's so much more versatile, because I love using it. It's come along so much. I put everything in there whenever I have to do anything. And then for like when we have appointments and stuff, we have Cozy, which is a program that we're all on, so we all know when everybody's doctor's appointments are, or anything that is going to impact the household. We put it in there so we all know what's going on at all times with each other. And it helps knowing all of this so that you can make plans. I mean, like I said, thank God, like in our household, we don't have a kid. that we have to worry about getting to school or to practices and stuff. I have a lot of friends at work that, on top of being caretakers for their grandparents or whatnot, they also have kids that are in school, play sports and everything. And it is interesting listening to them talk about how tired they are and how they are having to work around their schedules to be able to help their kids and their grandparents, and for surgeries and stuff. I know one individual, her grandmother's getting ready to have a surgery, and she's trying to arrange for everybody to be able to rotate out to help with her recovery. So these are just things that I know happen, and I know that we have to take into account. So I hope my suggestions will help you. And if I may go a little bit deeper in discussion on this subject in a future video. I know organization is one thing that's really difficult for everybody, and being able to keep things in a prioritized list, especially for chores and for your caretaking duties, is very important. And without it, you will go absolutely crazy. I have no doubt. So I hope this helped. And if you have any comments, just leave it down in the comment section. If you have any suggestions, leave it down in the comment section. And if you have any ideas of future videos that I can do, leave it down in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I hope you found this interesting. And I hope to see you next Sunday. Have a great day.